Hey everybody, let's continue on with this four-part series discussing the 2015 release of the CFPB's Consumer Protection Principles, CFPB's vision of consumer protection in new, faster payment systems. Let's continue the discussion today with looking to see if real-time payments meets the expected principles outlined in the release. Stay tuned. I get asked all the time about rules and regulations that are relevant to real-time payments. Something we have in future developments going to be made available for all of you. We have it both in courses on the Payments Professor website and a release that will be here on LinkedIn and YouTube. But to get that conversation started, or maybe it's a better way to say keep it going, let's do an overview of the CFPB's principles and the RTP capabilities to see if the principles are met by the Real-Time Payments Network. If you recall, number one was consumer control over payments. Any new faster payment system is clear about when, how, and under what terms consumers have authorized a payment. I'm going to put that one on service providers that offer the service to the consumer. You see, real-time payments, well, they're more like a highway, albeit a very fast superhighway, for delivering the messaging. But it will be the software and service providers that have the front end that will have to be set up to provide the terms and conditions to make it clear that funds are about to be transmitted and that the consumer is authorizing those funds to be sent. Each payment aligns with what the consumer has authorized. Systems enable consumers to put parameters on the payment, such as limiting the time period for which an authorization is valid, the amount, and the payee. All right, again, that one's going to be on the service and software providers more so than on the Real-Time Payments Network. Systems also specify procedures for consumers to easily revoke authorizations. Now this one, it's pretty interesting as the RTP network does not allow for a payment once transmitted to be revoked, canceled, or amended. I know this is for the authorization that we're talking about here, and providers will have to determine if they have a standing authorization or one is completed every time a payment is made. But do know, once sent, if it's sent, you can't get it back. It's possible, though, to use what is called a request for returns of fund message, but that's not even a guarantee. More on that in future videos. Number two was data and privacy. When helpful to consumers, consumers are informed of how their data are being transferred through any new payment system, including what data are being transferred, who has access to them, how that data can be used, and potential risk. As appropriate, the systems allow consumers to specify what data can be transferred and whether third parties can access their data. When consumer data are collected, they are only used in ways that benefit consumers. The systems protect against misuse of data associated with payment transactions. All right, the Real-Time Payments Network is brought to us by the Clearinghouse. And the Clearinghouse has been in the payments business, well, longer than the Federal Reserve. They have offered electronic payment options for years and have had data security standards in mind when building the Real-Time Payments Network and the rules associated with the network. And they have compliance standards for all participants. There's explicit criteria for payment service providers and audit requirements, risk controls, among many other areas that address data privacy and its protection. I say this one, it's not just met, it's actually exceeded. Next. Fraud and error resolution protections. Faster payments are accompanied by robust consumer protections with respect to mistaken, fraudulent, unauthorized, or otherwise erroneous transactions. System architecture ensures that information is created and recorded to facilitate post-transaction evaluation. All right, so how's that one work? RTP has reconciliation windows with detailed reports of all activity. So let's keep going. Systems provide mechanisms for reversing erroneous and unauthorized transactions quickly once identified. They also provide consumers with regulatory protections such as Regulation E and Regulation Z, along with other appropriate safeguards. Again, RTP does not have a reversal system like we know it in ACH. And in ACH, a reversal can be sent as an entry, and if done by the ACH rules, it is possible that the funds will come back without a problem. but it's not a guarantee. What the Real-Time Payments Network does is they provide a request for a return of funds messaging capability. This puts in the hands of the receiving participant the ability and decisioning of whether or not to return the funds. Now, I will say this, receiving participants must respond to a request of return of funds, but that does not guarantee that they are going to respond by returning the funds. Number 4, transparency. Faster payments include real-time access to information about the status of transactions, including confirmations of payment and receipt of funds. Consumers also receive timely disclosures of the cost, risk, funds availability, and security parameters. All right, the Real-Time Payments Network requires a return message be sent of accept, reject, or accept without posting, and to be done within 5 seconds of the payment being received. The network also has immediate funds availability requirements for all accept status payments, and there are special requirements that are in place for accept without posting situations, but those are due to allowing for rules and regulation compliance. But there are still timeframes that funds must still be made available in those particular situations. And security requirements, remember that risk management and audit requirements we discussed for data privacy, well, they're also there for compliance. There's more risk management that cover this. There's audit requirements all in place, as well as security requirements for all participants. And as far as the cost to the consumer and the disclosure of risk, well, that's something that's going to need to be met by the sending and receiving participants like we see now in other payment channels. All right, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a fantastic Friday. We got part 4 coming up. Until then, please feel free to email me, kevin@paymentsprofessor.com. If you'd like more, you can go to our YouTube channel or Payments Professor new and updated website, where we have additional courses and information available to serve and aid professionals like you to learn everything you need to know to advance your careers, to get raises and promotions, and to do so while also helping to protect your organization and those you serve.